excuse me. No, I don't have any YouTube subscribers, but like to make videos. Uh, Trying to get off the political thing, but actually I have gotten off of Facebook. Uh, which is, I don't know, I feel like it's something I needed to do to get away from just paying too much attention to videos. And this time I could spend doing other productive things around the house, with spending more time with my kids, and just put more attention towards, just being at home. And sometimes you feel like being at home, it's that time to relax and just get on your phone, and, hours can go by. So I don't really want to be spending that much time on Facebook. And I still like to look at Twitter, YouTube to get news and what's trending. But to me, Facebook changed for me when they stopped having uh, trending news topics on Facebook, and that was about the time after the election and when Trump first took over. And trending news is coming from world news articles, different news, and it's not mainstream, but it's giving you a different narrative to what's going on in the world and what president's trying to do. That's when the Russian narrative took a turn. So this video is about the Russian narrative and Juicy Smollett getting away with his hate crime hoax. But I just started out by saying that not being on Facebook for the last couple of weeks, uh, I have more quality time mentally. I've always liked Facebook to be able to keep up with family and friends, but I've always have used Facebook to express my political opinions, and especially uh, during the 2016 elections. And the majority of my friends, mostly my black peers that I've lost over the years, um, there's actually one friend I have, and I can actually remember going to his house, and it was his wife and one of his cousins, or our cousin. I might have been a distant relative to this guy, but it was before the elections in 2016, and all the media propaganda is, to me, I'm seeing it at an all-time high with the social media and mainstream media. There was like a hatred towards President Trump, but there was nobody acknowledging Hillary Clinton's crimes that uh, her foundation and people in her inner circle have committed since uh, she was Obama's Secretary of State. Their foreign policies in Libya and Syria. Nobody wants to acknowledge that that had something to do with the power structure going on in the world, in that part of the world. That's a different topic to get to, but nobody wanted to acknowledge the email leaks from WikiLeaks I told somebody about those email leaks, and they're like, "Well, I really don't care about the emails. We really just don't need to have Trump in office. He's not the right person." This was after the election, but getting back to when I was before the election, I'm trying to tell my friends about President Trump and what his agenda is because I've been listening to this man's campaign rallies and his speeches, and the promises that he was making made sense to me because I didn't see him as a career politician. So not seeing him as a career politician and through research and knowing what globalism was and the effects of this anti-Christian occultism and atheism that's growing. As a Christian person, what Trump's agenda was doing made sense as far as supporting Israel and trying to get peace, get these guys out of these wars in Afghanistan and Syria, defeat ISIS instead of making it easier for them to take over territory. It's just so many things that he was promising in his campaign that I seen was for the betterment of this country. So I go to my cousin, his wife, and his cousin, and when I tell them that basically I support Trump's agenda and they shouldn't vote for Hillary Clinton out of spite, they get infuriated with me, and the emotions that I seen that I triggered them, and that was eye-opening for me because as a person that does research and understands some of what's going on behind the scenes from a alternative point of view, which is being censored now, so you can't really get the right information because it's being fact checked by Snopes, which is funded by bureaucrats and corporations. If you don't know what's going on in the last 15 or 20 years in politics in the world, then you're probably lost. So, but what I was getting to, my cousin, this was 2016, probably July, September, before the election. And this is after you know, his wife and his cousin there were infuriated and really talking shit to me, telling me I was stupid because Trump was racist and a bigot and bad for the country. They call whatever Hillary's corruption is conspiracies. So after all that, and actually going back a couple times and still talking about the same topics, knowing I'm gonna trigger them, I finally let it go. But my cousin, he says, "Well, man, I just hear this Russia. What is it I hear about Russia?" I said, "Well, Russia, that is a conspiracy theory, and they're trying to call Trump a Russian agent, and people on his team and people in his inner circle connected to ties with Russia. So now we all know that Trump did not collude with Russia to get the election. But the fact that I forget his name, one of the guys that got indicted was said to have shared WikiLeaks information with Trump administration, and it was concerning Hillary's email scandal. So if Roger Stone got indicted for sharing information from WikiLeaks email dump, which was dumped to the public to see, does that refute that those emails were real, that it weren't fake documents? So what that gets to is the Russia collusion has fell apart, and people that do the research, I'm not going to get into it, but we know what the real Russia collusion was, and that was to get uranium to Syria, North Korea, Iran through the Iran deal. But under the table, the Russian collusion gets to a deeper story. I'm not going to go there, but what the Russia collusion to me is what I've been talking about since 2016, that around the election time and the election, every person I argued with on Facebook or social media, that was their main argument. Other than saying Trump's a racist, their argument was, well, Mueller has got this investigation and the Russians helped Trump win and he's going to be impeached. They've got all the evidence. People are getting indicted. All the people getting indicted were getting indicted from stuff from the past before they even done anything within the Trump administration. 675 days, between 30 and 40, I hear maybe more, 30 or 40 million dollars of taxpayer money, 34 indictments, and then some indictments for Russians that were never extradited to America, and 0 indictments for collusion. For 2+ years, and the mainstream media pushing this narrative every day that sooner or later something's coming out and we're going to get some obstruction or some criminal charges or collusion on the president and get him out of here. So my whole feeling is, what is the media going to talk about now? And to the people that have been hanging on so tight to this special counsel Mueller probe to come in and get some answers for the people that hate the president and want him out of there, even while the economy's growing, minority unemployment is historically low. We have trying to get more border security. There is a crackdown on sex traffickers, human trafficking going on. The media is not going to talk about that. But this is going to take a turn, I think. We'll have to see. But off the Russia collusion into the Jussie Smollett, I like to call him Juicy Fruit, Smullet. This guy walks scot-free with a little bit of community service, about to get his job back, probably about to get paid more money. And I just feel he needs to come out and apologize because this hoax was on a national level. And I seen a story. One of the detectives that was taken off of a case to come to the Juicy Fruit case was taken off of a case of a 1-year-old shot by a stray bullet. You know, Chicago is one of the murder capitals of the country. It's a Democratic sanctuary city stronghold with the strictest gun laws in the country. So basically, the citizens don't have the weapons to defend themselves, but criminals can run wild like it's the Wild Wild West. We have police officers that had to take their time off of other important cases where people's lives were infected, whether it was gang violence, shooting, or somebody robbed, or anything. They have to be taken off these cases. 12 detectives and the FBI have to come in and work this case when it is a hoax from the beginning. This guy lies, changes his story so many times, and it's a hoax. And he doesn't even want to come out and apologize. He's coming out and saying, well, I was telling the truth the whole time, and I feel sorry for hitting my family involved. That's bullshit to me. But this is just part of the narrative where I've lost so many of my friends over this race bait narrative. They call me a sellout and an Uncle Tom and a self-hating, brainwashed, because I'm a Trump supporter and a conservative and I see a different view of what we want for our country. And you see what these Democrats do. As soon as they get in the House, they coming out and flipping the script on their agenda. But don't nobody want to talk about that. They want open borders. They want gun control. This Green New Deal, $100 trillion in a decade to stop fossil fuels, airplanes, a bridge to Hawaii, regulations on cow farts, and free housing and government assistance for people that are unwilling to work. And we want to be able to abort these babies at 9 months, the day of their birth. And now you see how that story is coming apart to where it's about the harvesting and selling the body parts. If you can get a baby that's born 9 months, you can sell the body parts. So that's the agenda of the Democrats. But everybody wants to hate Trump, call him a racist, Russian collusionist. And you're not looking at what's happening to this country and recognizing the enemies of Trump are our enemies, because it's not for us to prosper. It's to open up our borders and have millions and millions of more people coming here living off the system so it collapses. And then the division and the race bait, they want the country to fall. That's why we've been listening. I don't really keep up with Fox, but it's on my YouTube because I know it's part of the mainstream just like everything else to a certain extent, but they're really focused on the propaganda that we've been listening to from the left for these 2 years, and it's nothing but bullshit. The lies of the left. And Lindsey Graham. Look at the abuse of power. Like Comey, Strzok, Lisa Page, McCabe, Loretta Lynch. All these people conspired under the Obama regime to take Trump out at any cost and to get Hillary in the White House. Loretta Lynch met Bill Clinton on the tarmac. I don't know if they gave her money or bribed her, but they say that they told her, when Hillary gets president, we're going to make you the first African American female Supreme Court justice. But this email scandal, it's got to go away. But we got to take this fake Steele dossier and we've got to give this to the FBI and get a FISA search warrant and spy on Trump so he can't be successful if he does win. So it's just good to see this narrative falling apart, because I've seen it going on for so long. And this is what I've been preaching to people for 2 to 3 years. So maybe it'll wake up some people to see what the media is doing and the narratives that they're pushing. And this juicy fruit Smullet can push this type of racial hoax and have all the evidence against him, facing felony charges, and then all of a sudden it gets dropped because he's got money and he's connected to people in power. And I've seen a story about Michelle Obama, the lawyer that was on the case, Fox. You got money and people in power know you and you're associated with, you can do bullshit like this. But if it was a white person saying that 2 black people attacked him and it was a hoax, they would have burned him at the stake. And he'd be going in front of a jury of his peers and be doing some prison time. So I'm gonna get off here. Just had some time today to make a video, but I'm gonna do a little clean around the house, chill out before I go to work. But oh yeah, even John Brennan is now saying, well, we made a mistake. We support Trump now. That's a guy that had to get his security clearance canceled because he's leaking the information to the media. But now they're on Trump's side because they know the bottom done fell out. And Trump said, we're going to look at the other side, make sure this never happens to another president. So we're going to have to make an example out of somebody. So I'm praying for the president. I'm praying for our country. And I'm praying for all my friends and family. And I'm praying for America and people to open their eyes and see the bigger picture and stop letting the media narrative and social media control our perception of what's really going on, when you can do the research. But now it's to a point to where you can't do the research because the information is being censored and banned. So Everybody, have a good rest of the week, and I'll talk to you later. Peace.